hello.
Guests.
We have guests here.
Oh, just.
Come, Ted. We're already starting the show. Please have a seat. Yes. I'm John.
I'm Swery.
Swery, wow, this is a big honor. Thank you. I'm Todd. I'm Todd. Nice to meet you. Ted. Yeah. So, wow, the man, right here. I'm gonna get a good shot of you. See, they're all saying hi. Yes. They're so excited right now. This is gonna be great. Yeah, this is gonna be so much fun. I'll sit there. I'm gonna make sure the shots are good and everything.
I love you.
Oh, that was like epic.
Okay.
Sorry for it.
No, you're early.
You guys are
You're
early.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
No way. There's no
early.
problem. We got a game up here. We've got the amazing mind behind this fabulous game that so many people, they're all excited. There's so many people jumping all over the place. There's 500 people right now, but there's gonna be a lot more.
So when I touch my computer,
So
it's
I'm gonna
electricity.
fix the shots and we'll get started. So
Do you need another mic?
you can sit there for a second while I do this.
Oh.
Here. We start fighting that.
Look.
Let me get my serious glasses on. So you guys know I'm serious. It's a gameplay here.
Yeah. Awesome.
So here, I got you guys watching, all of you. It's just because I'm playing the game. Still watching. And Ubot's watching you guys too. Cool.
All right. Okay. We're getting this game started. Excuse me. Wires everywhere.
Sorry.
So many wires.
You can run behind the Jen.
Look at this. Gosh. How is this
Right
happening?
behind your chair.
How is this happening?
Yeah, side.
It's live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
live. That's what happens.
This is what happens.
There
We
we
have wires behind me and everything. Connor can be playing. Yeah, let's do
Either
this.
way.
Let's do this. So thank you so much for coming. This is going to be a lot of fun. I guess we're going to be having a lot of questions in the room. If they want to ask a question, what should they do?
Yeah, you wanna... And I can handle the questions.
She can handle the questions as this gets started.
And you guys too, right?
It's dangerous. Run
Yeah,
around
what's
here,
that?
And you
boys.
can look too.
Yeah, I'll be looking too. But how should they ask it?
Just phrase it, question, ... blah, blah. That way we can catch it with our eyes a little easier.
So, thank you again. They say that you look great.
Thank you.
And they're happy that you're here. This is going to be so much fun. There's other people. Jim is probably in the room. Jim Sterling. Jim Sterling, he's there.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
They want to know about the woman in the tree in the beginning.
Okay.
They just want like an explanation of that.
Hi.
So, what does the woman in the tree signify? What does it mean?
赤いレッドリーのイメージをハンディのジョージがレッドリー自分のこの食材っていうところを許し上げるためにああいう形で女性を落としてる。
Okay. Yeah, we have people here calling and stuff of that nature. Here, I'm gonna give you a mic so they can hear you as well. Let me just see. Can you guys hear our guests? Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Is the game audio too loud? Do I need to turn anything up or down?
聞こえないって言いますね。オーディオゲームオーデ
Put
ィ
the
オ
channel on slow mo. They said. I don't know why. Audio could be turned down a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna fix this. It's the internet.
Okay.
This won't take long.
Yeah.
面白い。
すごいですよね。ジムさんも今オンラインで言ってましたよね。So Jim Sterling is online too?
Yeah,
I see. I will.
もしいるようだったらありがとうございますとかなんか言った方がいいですか。挨拶を。
Okay. Awesome.
Justin Bieber.
Oh man. So, where did this game come from? Was it from the top of your head? Was it inspiration from other Japanese horror movies? Was it something that you had? Was it a story that had to be told?
このゲームはどこから生まれるんですかね。頭の中にあったアイデアが元々あってとか、それからなんか会話の中でもしくはインスピレーションから生まれて、どうしてもかないといけないストーリーだったとか、そういう系です。
もともとは、
はい
頭の中に田舎の町で女性が殺されてそれを解決するような話はあったんです、はい、だけどそれを膨らましていったのはもういろんな人の話ですね。いろんな人と話をして、みんなの気持ちとかアイデアとかを入れながら最終的に形に作り上げたもので、大元のイメージはあったけれども取材に行ったり人と話すことで出来上がったゲームだと思ってます。
The story came from it was in my head. It was something about a countryside town, a murder that occurred there, and a whodunit kind of mystery was in my mind at the time when I started writing this. And then I showed it to more people. I had more people's input, other people's ideas that spawned more inspiration, and kind of took this small thing and turned it into a really big thing. I also went to visit other small towns in the U.S. And that also brought forth a lot more, many more ideas that expand on the original idea.
Okay.
They want to know, like, I really want to know, have you ever eaten a sinner sandwich?
シナーズサンドイッチは食べたことありますか Of course.
Yes. They want to know, was the game well received in Japan as it was in America?
日本での反響はどうでした？アメリカではすごいですけど。
日本ではもう全然です。
Not much response. Yeah.
Not much response.
Yeah.
We in America we have like. I guess you can compare it to a horror movie, and we tend to really gravitate towards that. And I can see why it would have done very well here and maybe not so well in Japan. The twins in Red Room, are they the representation of Zach/your personalities or another force?
アメリカの方は B 級映画の魅力っていうのはよく知られているので、そういうところに引力のようにみんなが集まってくる感じがあります。そういう意味で日本ではそういうのがあまりないんであれば分かりますね。2人の双子が家の中に赤い部屋にいるんですけども、これはザックとヨークに対するシンボリックなものもあったんでしょうか。
このゲームの中では、いろいろなものが、表と裏で相対的にこう重なってて、で必ず2つになります。レッドツリーとモイとか、美しいものと汚いものとかっていう形で、そういう意味でヨークとダークの、ひっくり返ったものっていうのが双子っていう形で赤い部屋では出ています。
Yes, that's exactly the case. There's always two sides of a coin, and similarly in our game we have a red tree and a forest. We have beautiful things and non-beautiful things. There's York and then there's Zach. That's similar to the twins. That's what we've tried to achieve.
What does the White Room symbolize?
ホワイトルームは何なんでしょうね。どういうシンボルなんでしょう。
ホワイトルームは赤い世界と森の世界のちょうど狭間、何の色もついてない、中立的立場の部屋です。
The white room is exactly in the center of the red world and the forest world. There's no color applied to it. It's right in the middle.
Right in the middle. I see it. Very zen, very zen.
What was the inspiration of the surrealism? Somebody mentioned Alice in Wonderland.
とてもシュリールな感じがするんですけども、それはアリスの物語とかそういうのが関係するんですかね。ワンダーランドの話とか。
アリスの不思議な国も好きですけど、特に意識したわけじゃない。でもそういう話は好きなので、いつもそうですね、郷土シナリオの人間とかと一緒にそういう話ばっかりしてます。不思議な映画も好きです。
Swery-san is saying, I really like the surreal elements in a lot of things, not just Alice in Wonderland, but I do like Alice in Wonderland too. We talk about a lot of the surreal elements in different kinds of forms of entertainment with my co-writer.
マザーグースとか不思議の国のアリスとかって実は結構好きで、スパイフィクション作った時にも各チャプターのタイトルがそれになってたり実はしてます。
I really like stuff like Mother Goose and Alice in Wonderland. In one of my past games called Spy Fiction, the chapter names inside the game were titles of such forms of entertainment.
And I mean, everybody always notices one thing about the game, the dialogue. Where did some of that dialogue come from? Was that just a poor transcript, or was that intentional to have some of the dialogue like that?
What kind of dialogue?
Well, I mean, the cutscenes. The cutscenes where they're talking and the dialogue, they say some really funny stuff and really cool catchphrases.
そのセリフがとても不思議なんですけども、変なところもあえて入って入れたんでしょうか。その魅力の一つとしてカットシーンの中で時には変なことを言ってたりするんですけども、
セリフを書くときに最初に共同でシナリオを書いてる人間がいるんですよ。別にサーブシナリオライターのゴーダという人間が、その2人で話を作っているときに、いつも2人で話をしていると無駄なことばっかり話をしてて、で一回その雰囲気というかそのままの感じでシナリオを書いてみようでテストで書いてみたんです。そしたらそれすごく面白くて、でそのままスタッフに見せてみたらみんなが 楽しいっていうかそのまま採用しました。
So about the dialogue, I always like to talk about unnecessary, really random things with my co-writer.
Okay.
His name is Goe-san, and he's credited as a sub-scenario writer in the game. But we always talk about these totally random things, and we decided to write some of it down to see what it would look like if it was in the game. And then once we did that, we loved it, and so we showed it to some of our other staff, and they loved it too, so we decided to put it in the game.
Okay.
They want to know how much you and York have in common.
スウェイロさんと、ヨークはどのぐらい似ていますか？
本当に僕はあんなにタフじゃないし、あんなにフィジカルな動きはできないですけども、でもギブなところとか優しいところとか傷つきやすいところとかはそっくりです。
Well, I'm not as tough or as physical as York, but I am just as geeky. I think I'm just as kind, and I'm probably just as easily yet emotionally hurt. The same way as York.
映画とか美味しい食べ物も好きですよ。
And I love movies and I love good food.
Okay. Talking about movies, do you love 80s movies and music? Yes, yes, he said yes. Speaking of music, where did that song come from? The whistling, the
口笛の音楽はどのように生まれたんですかね。
あれはコンポーザーの人にお願いするときに、いくつかの、昔の曲、オールディーズ曲を渡して、でこんな感じのものを口笛でやってくださいとオーダーしました。それで上がってきたやつが最初あまりにも下手くそだったので、その感じでいこうと逆にその下手くそなのをそのまま練り上げてきた感じですかね。
So, そのコンポーザー女性ですか？
男性ですね。
The composer, I asked my composer, I told him I brought him some oldies, I told him to listen to some of the stuff, and asked him to create something similar to the oldie stuff he handed to him. And that person created something which was not so good, and since it wasn't so good, he thought it might be fun to just iterate on the not so good stuff, and that's the song that we ended up with.
That's the song that we ended up with.
最初の口笛は音が鳴らなかった。
The first whistling in the version iteration, the guy couldn't even whistle. He was just blowing in a microphone.
Just blowing wind. That's amazing.
They want an explanation to the coffee scene.
The coffee scene. コーヒーシーンはどういうふうに説明する？他の人にするならばしますかね。
説明。
はい。
難しいですね。FBI のすごくできる捜査官っていうのを作り上げるときに、単純に操作が上手だとか、プロファイリングが上手だとかって言ってもキャラクターが弱いと思うんです。だから僕たちが全く理解をできない一般の常識を一線越えているところで彼だけが納得している何かそういう、理由が欲しかったんです。それでじゃあコーヒーを飲んだひらめくとか、そういうことやってみようかっていうのが最初です。
So when we're creating that character, it would have been really easy to just create a really competent FBI guy, somebody who's really good at finding the bad guys. But that would be too simple, and I wanted to create some kind of, make him be a little bit more interesting, where he has one thing higher than everybody else, and something that would be interesting, something that only makes sense to him, and that was the coffee scene.
Oh, okay.
Somebody's asking, at what stage in development were the combat sections implemented? Were they originally absent or radically different?
コンバットについてなんですけれども、開発のどういうタイミングで、コンバット周りを出ましたか？もともとプランに入ってたんですか？後付けですか？どういう感じですか？
もともとはプランになくて、おそらく多分ですよ、昔のことなんではっきり覚えてないけど、多分アルファのタイミングで、パブリッシャーのアルファ審査の時に、これを売るためにはコンバットが必要だっていう話が出ました。
It wasn't originally in the plans. It was a while ago. I don't really remember when this was, but it was during the alpha testing of the game. The publisher looked at our alpha build and said, "We need to put some combat in this game." And that's why.
Jim is in there. Wow.
Hi, Jim.
Yes, he's finally here. Amazing. That's so awesome. Well, since we're talking about development for the game and everything, is there anything in the game you would change?
ゲームの開発の話になりましたけども、ゲームの中で何か今変えられたら今変えたいものがありますか？
デトリープリモーション。
はい。
1年前発売した頃は変えたいところがいっぱいあってまだまだ作りたい気持ちでいっぱいだったんですけど、今はこれをもう一度変えるよりも 新しいものを作りたい、またはこれを遊んでいない人たちに遊んでもらえるように、何でしょう、例えば PC 版とか、はい、LGP 版とか、はい、多分そういう新しいことをやりたいです。
The game came out about a year ago, and at that time there were a lot of things that I wanted to change, or I wished I had more time to work on. But now, since a year has passed, right now I'd like to really create something new, or make this game in a way that is more playable by more people. So, for example, like make a PC version or an NGP version, something like that.
Wow!
Or challenge. Again, retry again development for PS3.
Okay, what happened with that though? Why wasn't there a PS3?
あれはどうしてなかったんですか？
I know, yeah, in the US. Why not in the US?
アメリカにはなかったですね。
SC どうしよう。
言えない。
言えないですね。ビジネスの問題ですね。
I think a lot of business decisions were made.
Okay. Since he was saying that he wants to try something new, is there a sequel, perhaps?
新しいことがやりたいっておっしゃってましたけれども、それは続編とかですかね。
続編チャンスがあればもちろんそれがやりたいですけど、そうじゃなくても、例えば移植であってもいいし、多くの人がさらにデトロイト・プレモーションの世界を楽しんでもらうようなことを今すごくやりたいと思ってます。
A sequel, I would love to make one. A port, it could be a port too. Making a port to this game would be great too, because it'll allow for more people to enjoy this game.
Since he was talking about the PlayStation Portable PSP2,
yeah.
What does he think about 3DS, or maybe a Deadly Premonition on the 3DS?
PSP2 の話が出てましたけども、3DS ではどうですかね。デドリーを。
3DS だったら FK がこう飛び出したり。ポリとの会話のシーンですごく遠くに感じたり、そういうことができるんじゃないですか。
Yeah, that 3DS would be cool too. I'd be able to make the FK really come out at you from coffee.
Wow, yeah.
Or you allow for the player to feel some distance with Polly at the table.
Amazing. Was there any thought about using Kinect with Deadly Premonition?
Kinect を使うこととかは考えられませんでしたか？
僕はすごくキネクトに興味があって、実はこれとは別だけどキネクトの企画書を書いてます。だけど、日本ではキネクトがあまり売れていないので、売れてないと言っていいのかな。普及していないので、
普及してないイメージあります。
どうやってその企画を実現しようか今毎日悩んでます。
I'm personally really interested in making a Kinect, something with Kinect, and writing a game design for it right now. In Japan, unfortunately, it isn't as popular as it is over here. So I'm still trying to think of ways to get that to move forward.
Okay. I think we're working on getting Jim. We're working on getting Jim over here. So let's see what other questions that they have. I'm gonna go down here. Where did you draw inspiration from the Dark Zones or for the Dark Zones?
ゲームの中にダークゾーンがありましたけれども、そのインスピレーションはどういうものがインスパイアされてました？
これのことですか？
そうです。
大元はやっぱり昔小さい時から感じた実際に自分が分かったこととか、田舎の家に泊まりに行って夜トイレに行けなかったこととか、そういうのが表にあります。でもそれを大人になって悪夢のような形で再現したのがダークサイドのことになります。
The dark zones were inspired by my own experiences when I was a kid. For example, whenever I was scared, I would think about those moments when I was scared as a kid. So, for example, when I stayed in the countryside and late at night, I wouldn't be able to go to the bathroom, and there'd be strange or scary thoughts that would, come across my mind, and those ideas are probably what inspired me for those dark zones in the game.
It seems like a lot of the inspiration for this game came from childhood experiences and just your real life experience. What scared you, what intrigued you, mystery and such.
このゲームのインスピレーションというのは結構聞いてる感じからすると、スヒロさんの子供の時の体験であったり、人生の中での体験が一番インスパイアしているというイメージですね。Yes.
This is a character specific question for Olivia Cormac. Her trading card mentions a shadowy past, but it's never elaborated in the game. What happened in her past?
オリビアについてのポイントの質問ですけれども、トレーディングカードの中では過去に影がみたいなことがありますけれども、それはゲームの中で説明されていませんが、どういうことが過去にあったんですかね。
過去に影があるって書いてました。どういう書き方したっけ
？Okay, so we have Jim.
This is Jim. He's here, yeah. Skyping.
Hello.
Hello. Oh,
Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you. Thank you for making Dead Premonition, you magnificent bastard.
作ってくれてありがとうございます。この野郎っていうことですね。
Thank you too.
Wow. Don't know what to say. It's fine.
なんと言っていいのかすごい光栄です。
同じです。
いや、
Yeah.
ビデオのことありがとう。
ビデオのことありがとうございます。Thank you for the GDC video, your help with the GDC video.
Oh, no problem. I'm very sad that I couldn't be in San Francisco myself
はい、
and
さら
not
に行け
seeing
なくて
you
すごく残念
in
ですけど、
person.
本当お会いしたかった
It
です。
was a bit of an honour actually to tribute to the panel. So I'm glad to be there in spirit, if not bodily.
GDC で参加できるのはでも素晴らしいことですよ、ヒロさん。で次回とかでお会いできたら嬉しいですね。
こちらこそ。今回本当に北米の評価の中で直に最初にすごい評価をもらって、
はい、
それがきっかけでいろんなところに火がついていて多くの方々に飛んでもらったと思うので本当にありがとうございますと。
So thank you very much, Jim. He wanted to express his thank you to you. The critique that you gave, the review that you gave, really sparked the fire for the popularity of this game, and he really wanted to express his gratitude to you.
Not at all. I consider it a privilege and a very privileged part of my job to be able to take a game like Deadly Premonition, which not a lot of people talked about, and obviously IGN had had its 2 out of 10 review before that, but to take this game that people weren't really talking about and play at least a small part in turning it into a cult success is just probably the most rewarding part of my job, probably the most rewarding thing I've done in my career.
仕事上で自分にしかできないこと、それは人の名画にあまり光の当たらないゲームとかにちゃんと光を当てることだと思っています。特にこういう面白いゲーム、またはIGN さんから10点中2点とかそういうようなレビューが出てましたけれども、面白いものは面白いって言うとか、そのカルトヒットに参加できたっていう一部分でしないですけども、その参加できたことっていうのは自分のキャリアの中でも大きなものになったかと思います。
僕とはどっちかというと今までもカルトな感じのゲームを作ってきたので、
はい、
こういう文化、
はい、
いいものいいっていうふうに見てもらえるアメリカの文化っていうのはすごくありがたくて、
はい、今
後も必ずいいものを作るつもりなので、なんだろう、しっかり見て、
はい、
もし僕がダメなものを作れたら怒ってほしいですね。
Yes, I've been making some games in the past that are really probably what one would consider to be cult-friendly, cultish, fan-friendly, and I will continue to do so. I also appreciate you being able to look at the enjoyment you had from the game and expressing that you were enjoyed by the game. Was something that really meant a lot to us. I will continue to try to make really good games, and if you notice that I'm not making as good of a game as I used to be, then please feel free to let me know in any way you can.
Please do. Deadly Premonition, of course, I thought was fantastic, and it seems a lot of gamers, judging by the amount of people watching the stream right now, a lot of gamers appreciated what Deadly Premonition did and the different way it approached entertainment in video games. So yeah, I certainly hope you will continue to do that, and I do hope we haven't seen the Lust of Agent York as well.
すごくゲームとしてぜひ引き続きいいゲームいっぱい作ってください。私はそのゲームすごい面白かったと思っています。で特にこのストリーミングを見ている人たちも同じように思っていると思います。アプローチとしてエンターテインメントに対して他のゲームとは違うアプローチを取っているっていうところはすごく気に入っています。で今後もそうしてください。
はい、昨日も少し堀江さんと話しましたけど、はい、これを作っていた当時っていうのは、はい、なんか今までゲームを作ってきたキャリアの中で、はい、普通のエンターテインメントのようなものを一生懸命追いかけたんですけども、はい、ちょっとそれに嫌気がさしているというか、はい、もう少し違うものを作りたいっていうエネルギーがあったので、こういう形になったと思います。
Yes, yesterday we were talking. He was talking with me, Tad, and in his career, earlier in his career, he was really trying to make entertainment the way everybody else was making entertainment. When he was making Deadly Premonition, Swery really wanted to take a different approach. He had a lot of energy at the time, and he wanted to use that energy to find a different way to approach entertainment, and he was able to funnel all of that energy into this game.
What was it like getting the game made? Was there a lot of resistance because it was so different? Did you worry at all that gamers and even publishers wouldn't quite get it?
そのゲームを作るっていうところで大変でしたでしょうか。そのパブリッシャーの人が理解してくれないであったり、なんか他のゲームと違いすぎるか、そういうことを言われましたでしょうか。
そういう意見の方ももちろん周りにはいました、それはスタッフの中にもチームの。だけど自分自身がこのゲームは面白いってちゃんと信じてたし、パブリッシャーのプロデューサーの方、その方が、僕を信じて守り続けてくれたんで、その人とそれから僕を信じてくれるスタッフで、堀江さんもそうですけども、応援してくれる人たちの力で必ず大丈夫だって思い込むことができたんで作れました。
Yes, of course, there were people who resisted, even not just on the publisher side, but also even inside my team. But I truly believed this game was going to be fun, and at the same time, the producer on the publisher side believed in me as well, and other stuff that did believe in me, and also me, Tad was also helpful in encouraging that thought that this is going to be a really good game, and everybody's positive thoughts together combined really created this confidence in my mind that this game is going to be really good.
Well, excellent. I see a lot of other people in the chat are asking questions. I don't want to take up all of the time and not let their questions get asked. So I guess I'll still be watching the stream, and I'll be in the chat room as well. I'd just like to say it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for an excellent game.
本日はありがとうございました。いろいろチャットの方からも質問も出ていますし、今日はお会いできてすごく嬉しいです。
こちらこそ。とても本当にありがとうございます。
It was a pleasure talking to you too, and I'd love to meet you in person sometime soon.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure we will share a cup of coffee sometime.
ぜひ将来一緒にコーヒー飲みましょう。
Yeah, of course. I love you, Tim.
I hope you too.
We all love each other. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. Thanks, Chip. Absolutely amazing. Wow.
一番好きなコーヒーは何ですか？
Yeah, Jim really wanted to be here. So yeah, he really means it's an absolute honor to be talking to you guys right now. Let me just see this computer over here. So many great questions. So many people are asking questions. Somebody mentioned, would you ever consider working with Grasshopper?
例えばグラスホッパーさんとか、いろいろと質問が出てますけども、グラスホッパーさんと一緒に仕事するっていうか、そういうのはどういう意味ですかね。そういう話が出た。
僕としては須田さんは尊敬してますし、ものすごく面白い、人間的にも作ってるゲームも面白いと思うので、チャンスがあればすごくいいと思います。
Yes, I personally am very intrigued by Suda-san, and I love him as a person as well. I love his work. If there was a chance to work with him, I would love to take that opportunity.
花と太陽とかがやっぱすごく大好きだったんで、あんなアドベンチャーを一緒に作れたらいいなと思いますね。
I was really intrigued. I loved his game Flower, Sun and Rain, and if we were able to work together, it would be fun to make that kind of a game.
Amazing. Since we were talking about Suda, where did the name Swery65 come from?
須田さんの話ちょっと似てるかもしれないですけども、Swery65についてですけども、どういう由来ですか？
どうしましょう。これ大学の時のプライベートの話なので、ちょっと内緒にしておきます。
I'd like to keep that a secret. Actually, it came from some of my personal college years.
Okay, amazing. That's even better. I don't want a real answer. I like that. I like that so much.
面白そうですね。その方が面白い。
So, someone wants to know about the state of the game when it was first being called Rainy Woods. What changes had happened and when it was from Rainy Woods into Deadly Premonition?
昔レイニーウッズというタイトルでした。で、デドリープレモニションになって、その間はどういう変更されましたでしょうか？
もともとのリソースをできるだけ生かす形でプロジェクトを再起動させたんですけれども、根本的なところを全く違うので作り直しましょうということで、クライアントさんとパブリッシャーと話をしたので、全く別物だと思ってもらっていいですね。
At the time, we had to reboot the project basically, but we wanted to reuse some of the actual resources that we already had created, the stuff we already created. However, it would be probably best explained as we needed to rebuild everything that we could.
And so does that go along with the graphics of the game? Some people were mentioning in the chat room it looks a little bit different than other 360 games. Was that a budget reason?
あとグラフィックについてですけども、他の360のゲームと比較するとちょっと違うように見えますよね。それは予算的な話でした。
そうですね。もともとレイニウッズのリソースを使うっていうのもありましたし、レイニウッズの時代からすごい何年もかかってしまっているプロジェクトなので、 トータルで3回とか4回とかクロスの、危険性があったんです、はい、それを乗り越えながらなんとか形を変えて発売されたタイトルなので、はい、グラフィックにかけるもうお金がなかったですね。
Yes, we want to reuse some of the resources that we had created for this game called Rainwoods that was created a long time ago. And then during the process, there were about 3 or 4 times where the project was at the verge of being canceled. Kind of there was a scare of being canceled. And in order to get past those tough times, we had to spend some money there. And so, yes, he would say it's a budgetary reason.
We talk about budget and stuff like that. So, what audience was this game made for? What was the ideal person? I mean, Destructoid, we like these type of games, but originally, who were you targeting?
その観客についての話になるんですけれども、どのような人をターゲットにしていましたでしょうか。我々デストラトイドはこのゲーム大好きです
一番は自分とが面白いと思えるものを作ろうと思いました。だけど、それ以上に意識していたのはよくあるシューティングゲームとかよくあるアドベンチャーゲームとかああいうものを遊んで最近すごい質はいいんですけどもでも何か物足りないって感じている人がいるんじゃないかと思っていたのでその物足りないところを満たすための、仕掛けを入れてます。なのでゲームは好きだけど今売られてるゲームに何か物足りなさを感じている人たちっていうべきです。
So yeah, I wanted to make a game. Well, firstly, I'd say that I wanted to make a game that me and my staff wanted to play ourselves. We wanted to make sure that we created something very cool that we as customers would want to play. And then we were thinking also that we were wanting to create a game for people who love games but aren't really satisfied with the game they're currently playing. And we wanted to kind of scratch that itch, basically, of what's not making them feel satisfied. And we did a lot of those small little things that would scratch such itches into our game.
Somebody said that they bought 360 for Deadly Premonition.
今誰かが言ってたのが、このデッドリープレモニション遊びたいがために360を買ったっていう人もいます。Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Several people have asked about Willie's significance and why the town of Greenbelt is shaped like him.
ウリーって大事なんですかっていう質問ですね。で、なぜ町自体が彼の形をしているんでしょうか。
それ言っちゃっていいかもわかんないですけど、ウィリーは本当はですよ、ケイスンの、お目付け役というか、ケイスンはダメなレッドツリーの中でもダメなやつなんですよ。それをしっかりはたいてるかを見るために彼のそばにいるんです。実は。
彼が一番悪いやつなんです。
悪いやつというか悪い世界を
支配してる
んです。支配してるのはレッドツリーなんですけど、レッドツリーの一部かもしれないです。
Willie is actually Kaysen's keeper. Kaysen is really a bad guy who's working for Red Tree. Red Tree actually is giving orders to Kaysen through Willie.
Does
it make sense?
No, does it make sense for you guys? Wow, they're saying wow. Weird. How important do you feel it is for games to be filled with small details? And do you feel that for that reason there was the success for Deadly Premonition?
Sorry, can you say again?
Sure. How important do you feel it is for games to be filled with small details?
ゲームの中に、小さいディテールを入れるというのはどのぐらい重要なんですかね。
本当に時間と愛情があるならその許す限り、眠らなくていいなら1日24時間そればっかりやるべきです。
From a development perspective, if you have the time and resources, you should be putting in as much detail as you can in the game. If I didn't have to sleep, I would be putting more detail in my games.
Well, amazing. Speaking of the game, what's your favorite part of the game? Is there a part of the game where you're like, yes, this is a magic. This is why I made this.
ゲームの中で、このゲームの中で一番好きなところってありますか？それとか一番伝えたかったことがありますか？このゲームを通して。
伝えたかったことはゲームを遊んでもらった人それぞれが多分受け取り方があって、作品として多分完成してるものなのでそこで受け取ってもらったものでいいと思ってるんです。これあえて言ってしまうと、それと違った人はなんか思ってたのと違うってなると思うし、じゃなくて受け取ったことそのままが伝えたかったことだと思ったんですよ。で、なのでそれはそれでいいと思います。僕が好きなシーンは滝壺か釣りをして尻を釣り上げるところが好きです。
I don't want to really state that this game had a strong message for anything. I'd rather prefer that gamers take what they can from the game and it's their own personal message. My favorite scene in the game would be when a player actually fishes out materials out of the from the waterfall area.
They want to know the details of Olivia Cormack's shadowy past.
オリビアの過去の話にちょっと戻るんですけど。
どうしましょう。カードの内容を忘れてしまいました。
Unfortunately, sorry, I don't remember what was written on the card for her.
もう5年ぐらい前の。
That was written 5 years ago.
Wow, how long was this game? 5 years ago. Wow, that's a long time. What are some of your favorite games?
一番好きなゲーム最近のものとかありますか？過去のものでも。
一番好きなのはスーパーファミコンのゼルダの伝説、神々のトライフォス。
On the Super Famicom, Super Family Computer, Super Nintendo over here, there was a game, Zelda, Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
That one, so the Kamigami, the Triforce of Gods. I'm not sure what the subtitle was, but Winds of the Past.
So, during the making of this game, was there anything that he was forced to take out due to censorship?
エディティング機の問題とか、センサーシップですね。ゲームの中から消えないといけないものってありましたか
？4回のダメになった時には、たくさんNG になりました。最初はシナリオの段階でもう NG だったし、シナリオを修正してカットシーンを作って今 NG になったものもあります。ベッキーのバスルームのシーンがもっと過激で、何回も怒られました。
Many things, yeah, sure. When I spoke earlier about there were about 4 times when the game was about to be canceled. Each time I had to cut things out, whether it was from at the stage of just storyline check, I had to tear some things out. When the cutscenes were created, I had to tear some things out. For example, Becky's bathroom scene was a lot more vivid, and I've been people were angry with me for that scene for many, many times.
言ってもいいですかね。もう過去のことから。
はい。
内臓が出て内臓がレッドツリーの形になるようなシーン。
You were trying to make, for example, one example of that Becky scene. I recall we were trying to have the internal organs of Becky kind of come out of the body and turn into a red tree, and that was something that we had to take out of the game. And that was, yeah, we probably went a little too far when we were trying to create that.
So somebody keeps asking, throughout the game, huge aspects of the story are revealed before they happen, such as trading cards. What was the reason for this?
ゲームの中で例えばトレーディングカードとか書いていて、で将来的に起きるものが先にちょっと出ちゃうっていうのがありました。それは何か意図的なものでした？
意図的なものもありますし、そうじゃないつもりだけどそうなったものもあります。で、意図的なものとかだと、トレーディングカードって集めなくても進められるじゃないですか。だから集めていった人が先に答えのようなものを知るのも面白いかなと思ってました。
Yeah, some of that was intentional, and some of that wasn't intentional. But for example, for the trading cards, you can actually move forward in the story without collecting any of them. But for example, the other reverse example of that is that you collect a card before and you'll learn something about what's going to happen in the future. And that in itself, I thought was cool, and that might be something that players would feel that is fun and entertaining. And so we left that as a part of the charm of the game.
なんかこのゲームの頃を遊べば遊ぶほど謎になっていくような感じにしたかったんですけど。
I liked the thinking of the more you play this game, the more mysterious it becomes, and that was helping in that regard.
Let's see what other questions we have. There's so many. There's a flood. There's so many people. People want to know what's going on in your head. I mean, I want to know what's clicking up there. Personally, me, I want to know: are you a fan of horror movies? And who are some of your favorite directors and favorite movies, whether it's American or Japanese?
いろんな質問が出ていますけども、私個人からの質問です。ホラー映画っていうのは好きですか？それと、もし好きであれば一番好きなディレクターとかいますか？
ディレクターですか？
はい、監督。
ホラー映画昔の資料の腹渡と
何でしたっけね、英語の名前。
英語はなんだ。あれです、サムラミの。
Sam Raimi's.
Sam Raimi. Evil Dead.
Evil
Dead. Okay.
がホラーでは好きです。でも映画一番好きなのは未来世紀ブラジルですね。
Brazil
from Terry Gilliam. Okay, amazing.
俺はないけど。
It's not a horror movie.
No, it's not a horror movie, but yeah.
That's you.
The terror.
There's a few things more horrifying.
Yeah.
ホラーって言う人もいますからね。
Would you ever consider making a movie?
映画作りたいとか思ったりしますか？
昔、学生時代は映画が作りたくて映画の勉強してたんですけど、実際ゲームを作り始めたらゲームの方が面白い。
When
あとインタラクティブなやり取りができるので。
when I was still a student, I really wanted to make a movie. But once I started making games, I just got hooked, and I love now. Right now, I just love making games. I like interacting with the users like this. I like the interactive aspect of games.
Right. Do you think that Hollywood, this is the new Hollywood video games, is the new thing, and eventually movies are not going to be interactive enough for us?
今映画は単調すぎる、そしてゲームの方がインタラクティブなので、次世代のハリウッドなんじゃないかという言い方もあります。どう思いますか？
そこまで思ってないですけど、ゲームだとゲームをプレイしてる人がいないと成り立たないじゃないですか。だからその人に遊んでもらうためにものすごく苦労したり考えることが多いので、作る側としてすごく面白いっていう意味ですね。
Yeah, I haven't given that much thought, but I do know that if you're making a game, you have to really think about the user and what's going on in his mind when he's playing the game, and that whole process is something that I love.
What was the game that changed his life into wanting to make video games?
ゲームを作りたいなって思わせたゲームって何かありますか？水曜さんの人生を変えたゲームとかありますか？
どうでしょうね。昔からゲームはいっぱい遊んでるんで、気がついた時に映画をやろうと思ってその後に CG アニメーションをやろうと思ったんです、だけど CG アニメーションを操作したいって思ってゲームにいたので、何かのゲームに影響を受けてっていうよりは、それまでの人生で遊んだ全てのゲームに影響を受けてます。
That's hard to answer. I played a lot of games in my life as a child and as while I was growing up. But when after I graduated school, my studies wanted to make a movie, and then after a while I wanted to make CG animations. And then while making the CG animations, I was thinking to myself, I really want to control this character that's on screen, and that kind of evolved into making games. So it's the whole process of my career path, and it's also the whole process of playing a lot of games as a child. So it's really hard to point out.
It really wasn't one game, it was the whole experience. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. They want to know, are you a big fan of Resident Evil?
バイオハザードですね、とかは好きだったりするんですか？ファンだったりします？
バイオハザードは1と4だけ好きです。
I really love Resident Evil 1 and 4.
Right, that seems to be my favorite too, and a lot of other people's experience with that too. 5 was... Yeah. Everybody who got 5 was very...
私もそう思いますし、多くの人がそう言ってます。5はあまり私も含め好きじゃないです。
They keep asking, what's your favorite type of coffee?
一番好きなコーヒーのタイプってさっき質問出ましたけど、また出てますね。マンダリン？
日本ではマンデリンコーヒーっていうのです。
マンデリンコーヒー。In Japan it's called mandarin coffee. It's オレンジのマンダリンですか？なんか
ね、マンデリンですね。
マンデリン。
なんでもいいです。ラテが一番好きなそれぐらいの。
And lattes.
Okay, good.
Simple is good.
Simple is good. I like black coffee here, just black. So I don't know if we really got into this, but will your next project be coming to the PS3? Because people are, they can't afford both systems.
次のプロジェクトは PS3 版とか作りますか？ユーザーは両方持てなかったりするんで。
できる限りマルチプラットフォームで多くの方に遊んでもらいたいと思っていつもゲームを作ってます。
Really like to make multi-platform games. That way, more people can enjoy the game.
Right. If you had the appropriate budget, right, what would be your ideal game?
一番予算が足りていた場合はどういうようなゲームが作りたいですか？一番作りたいゲーム。
やっぱりテトリプルモーションで良かったところとして、30人ぐらいのキャラクターが24時間の生活をちゃんとテーブルを持って行っているところっていうところで街はすごい仕上がってたと思うんですけど、あれをもっと突き詰めてもう100人ぐらいの人が生活しているようなところできっちりストーリーラインがあるようなものが作れたらすごいいいなと思いますね。
In Deadly Premonition, there were about 30 characters or so that were moving along a real timetable. They were living life the way I envisioned them to be living life throughout the 24 hours of the day. And making that kind of timetable is a lot of fun for me. So in the future, it would be really fun if I can make one that has more characters, like about 100 characters or so, that live life the way I envisioned them to live life in 24 hours a day. That kind of game would be fun to me.
That'd be fun, but it'd also be a really big undertaking. That sounds like a lot of work.
それをやるにはすごく仕事が必要になりますよね。働かないといけなくなります。
例えば、オンラインでそのうちの中には NPC じゃなくて NPC をやりたいプレイヤーがいてもいいかもしれないですけど。
Yeah, it would be definitely. For example, though, maybe we can use some online aspects. So maybe some people would want to play the non-playable characters that would be working or living in the universe that I would be thinking of. That might be fun too.
So almost like an MMO.
もう MMO みたいになっちゃいます。
And yeah, because you were just talking about online cooperative modes and stuff like that. So yes, you would like to have online if you could.
ということはここにも書かれていますようにオンラインのその協力モードみたいなのがあったらいいよねみたいな話もありますけども、そういうのが作ってみたいっていうことですよね。
協力っていうとまたわからないですけど、どうだろうな。ある一つの街みたいなものを作り上げて、その中にストーリーがだから事件が起こって主人公毎回変わるようなものとかどうですか
？Cooperative? Maybe not. I really want to make a real living city, and maybe some kind of something happens there that people need to take part in. Maybe some kind of something bad happens that people need to take part and do their own thing in.
Amazing. That sounds really cool. Let's see. Some characters seem to be molded after some actors.
ゲームの中に出てくるキャラクターが、何人かですけども、実際に生きているアクターに似てるっていうのはありますけども、
そこは意識して作ったつもりはないんですけれども、イメージをこうデザイナーにすごく伝えているときに、そういう映画の話とかしながら喋ったので、そういうイメージがあったかもしれないですけど、無理に似せてるつもりはなかったですね。
Well, we definitely weren't trying to make any of the characters look like actually existing people. But when talking about the backgrounds of characters, we would always talk about different kind of movies or TV shows, what have you. And that kind of image would be explained to our artists, and maybe that would come through in the final products of what they created.
York mentions that he used to listen to punk music. We want to know if you like punk music.
ヨークがゲームの中で昔はパンクの音楽が好きだって言ってました。そういうヒロさんも好きなんですか？
学生時代は聞いてました。
When as a student, yes, I loved punk music.
Sex Pistols.
Sex Pistols.
Sex Pistols. All right, right. Let's see. Do you plan to make a game that is based on the culture of people from other countries? I guess they're just looking for an experience, like a more cultural experience. Because whenever we see games here in the States, it always seems very Western.
次のゲームと将来的な話ですけども、次でなくても他の国の文化に基づいたゲームを作りたいとか思われたりしますか？
他の国とアメリカで。
アメリカ以外で。
日本以外の文化のゲームを作りたいというのは常に思ってて、でまだもう少しアメリカのゲームを作りたいと思ってます。でも最近ヨーロッパに旅行行ったりしているので、そうですね、チャンスがあれば他の国でもいいな。でもまだアメリカのゲームを作りたいと思ってます。もっとアメリカを知りたい。
I really want to work on games that use cultures that are non-Japanese. I want to make more games that are American cultured, like the last Legs game. I recently went to Europe, and using some of their cultures might be fun too. But right now, I really want to learn more of the American culture. So I'd like to work more on American culture games.
ヨーロッパに旅行するとすごく歴史があって古い感じがするので、どっちかってそういう深いものになるというか。歴史を感じさせるゲームなんですけど、僕が作りたいものって普段の生活に密着したものの方が得意なんですよ。だから今のアメリカかちょっと昔のアメリカかみたいな感じでゲームをしながら実際の生活に影響を与えられるものが作りたいです。
When you think about Europe, to me, Europe has so much history, and so I'd be I'd be erring to want to create something that has some kind of historical significance or something that has to do with history that they have so much of. What I'm better at doing, or what I think I'm really good at doing, is making things that are more close to day-to-day life. And I really like the day-to-day life and the culture of the day-to-day life in the U.S. And that kind of, so that's something that I would really like to work on more for future games.
How do you feel about psychology in the game, manipulating the gamer's experience, making me happy, making me mad? How do you make that happen?
すごく心理についてサイコロジーの話ですけども、ユーザーがハッピーになってユーザーが悲しくなってそういうことがゲームの中で起きるみたいですけども、それはどのようにされてそうなってるんですか？
多分 GDC の中でも話すと思うんですが、キャラクターとかストーリーラインを作るときに、すごいいいことですね、ユーザーが望むこと、いい面っていうのと、それと逆のユーザーが望まないこと、嫌なことっていうのを必ず同時に入れるようにしてます。それによってこう心がいい方に触れたり悲しくなったり触れるようなことを意識しながら物語を作ってます。
I'll be talking more about this at GDC this week, but I've always been thinking that when I create something, I want to create the good side and the bad side of that. And also, for example, in a story, there's something that the user wants to see happen, and there's something that the user doesn't want to see happen. Being able to create both of those allows me to create something that makes the gamer happy and sometimes makes the gamer sad.
They want to know why in some scenes you use fixed camera angles, and they were wondering if it relates to Resident Evil.
なぜ、ゲームの中で状況において固定カメラを使用されたんですか？
作っていた時は見てほしい箇所とか意味のある箇所を強調するつもりでいたんですけど、そうですね、実際遊んでみると遊びにくかったですね。
When I was making the game, there were certain places inside the game that I wanted the player to actually see or force them to see just to make sure that they understand what's going on. And in hindsight, though, that did make some of the gameplay hard to control, and maybe that's a bad thing.
のところでずっと奥に進んでいくと景色で忘れちゃうじゃないですか。だからパッてこれカメラが入ったりするとそこって覚えたりするので、そういうイメージをしてたんですけども。
Yeah, at the time I was thinking that in the game a lot of the scenery just goes past you if you keep walking forward, and there were certain things that I wanted to make sure the player saw, and if the camera cuts to a fixed camera when you pass that area, I thought that would be spark some memorable moments for the player. So he thought at the time it was a good decision, but in hindsight right now maybe it was a bad decision.
So that'd be one of those things that you just go back and change if you could. Let's see what's going on here.
Apologies for the bad controls.
Oh, his apologies. No. We're no big deal. Sometimes when you kill an enemy, they say they don't want to die. What was the meaning or inspiration behind that?
死にたくないよっていうようなセリフを死ぬ時に敵が言います。それはなぜ死にたくないんですかね？
シャドウっていうのは音量ってわかるんですよね。こっちわかんないですけど、人間が死んだ時に日本では魂と肉体に分かれるっていうイメージがあって、その魂が悪い魂だったらこの世に残り続けるっていう考え方があるんです。その悪い魂がグリーンベイルにたくさん埋まってる死体に取り付いた状態なので、死ぬのが嫌だとまだ言ってもう死んでるのに。
Well, okay, so the shadows are evil spirits, basically. In Japan, we have this concept of when you die, your soul separates from your body. And the thinking here is that of the souls that were separated from the bodies when they died, the evil ones remain on Earth. And the evil ones then took over one of the cadavers or one of the dead bodies inside Greenvale, and now are trying to attack the player. And so even though the souls are actually dead already, they believe that since they're in control of the body now, they think they're alive, and so they don't want to die.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Still looking to be so many questions. Let's see.
Why did you choose the song Amazing Grace as the theme for Raincoat Killer?
アメージング・グレースをレインコートキャーのテーマソングになって使ってますけども、なぜその曲なんでしょうか？
みんなが聞いたことあって、で心にしみるすごい悪いことしてるけれども、あの曲を聴くことによってこれってどっちのシーンなんだろうっていうのを ユーザーに感じさせるためにはいうことにしました。
どっちのシーンっていうのはいいシーン
いいシーンなのか悪いシーンなのかを混乱させるために。
So I wanted to use a song that everyone has heard of and something that kind of oozes easily into the soul and of the player, and also wanted to create a scene that would cause some thought in the user's mind, to wonder whether this is a good thing that's occurring or a bad thing that's occurring. I wanted to create that kind of ambiguity.
When could we see your newest game?
次の新しいゲームはいつ頃見れそうですか？
どうだろう。5年後か10年後じゃないですか。
I don't know. Maybe 5 years.
Okay.
Maybe 10.
Maybe 5, maybe 10. So
10 years って言って。
10 years, 10 years. It's a fine wine. We want to let it.
熟成させないといけないんですね。We need to let it sleep a little.
Let it sleep. Yes, and it'll come out. So if we're gonna talk 10 years, what would be your next goal with interactive storytelling? Because game keeps evolving and it's always becoming. Some would say easier, some would say harder to make games.
10年ちょっとになるかもしれないという話ですけども、次のゴールとしてゲームの中でのストーリーテリングについてはどう思いますか？どのように進化していくと思いますか？もっと難しくなる、もっと簡単になる、例えば。
これも自利詞で多分話すことになると思うんですが、複雑にすればだんだんマルチエンディングとかそういう方向にストーリーって進んでいくんですけども、そうじゃなくて一本の長いものを遊んでもらうところは変わらずに、その間の寄り道とか、遊ぶタイミング、理解をするタイミングがもっと自由なものを作りたいと思ってます。
Yeah, that's a question I had actually that just popped up in the channel here. Forrest Kaysen appears both in Spy Fiction and Deadly Premonition. Is there a connection there? Now, he's not the only character that transitions, but he's definitely one of the ones that makes the most sense. It intended for them to be the same person or force.
Okay.
I don't know if that could even be heard on the open stream. I'm so far away.
So they can hear you. They can hear you. Yeah, we have these mics pretty sensitive right now.
To answer the first one, the storytelling, how that's going to be moving forward in his mind in the future would be, this is something that we're going to talk about a little bit more at GDC this week. One way to take storytelling, make it, keep the user experience, entertaining is always to just create multiple endings. That's creating more assets, creating more artwork, creating more work for everybody to do. But that's one path to take. But the path that I would like to take is to have one story that allows the player more freedom inside the one story path. For example, there would be some freedom in timing that player can choose to choose when to do things inside, even though it's a one path storyline. The user would have a lot of sense of freedom in regards to figuring out the timing of when he wants to do things. That's kind of the direction I'd like to take things in the future. And you asked about Forrest Kaysen. So, Forrest Kaysen についてですけども、スパイフィクションにも出てきます。で、レドリーにも出てきます。これは何か意図があるんでしょうか。彼が出てくるというのはすごくメイクセンスするんですけれども、なんかもっと重たい意味とかあるのかなと。
いろんな意味があるんですが、一つは僕がすごく気に入っている作品が出てきます。
There's lots of reasons why Forrest Kaysen is in Spy Fiction and Deadly Premonition, but one of the reasons that come to mind would be that I want to make him appear in the games that I love most.
Well, good, because everybody loves York. Forrest Kaysen is by far my favorite character in Deadly Premonition. I'm just fascinating.
ジョージが好きな人っていうのもいっぱいいますけども、私個人としてはケースですね。
Do you think the best game has come out yet? Or do you think we've lost our way and we're moving away from the essence of what made us fans of games?
あなたにとってですけれども、一番ベストなゲームというのはもう発売されてるんですか？それとも、ゲームの行く末っていうのがもう完全に迷っていて、世の中としてはおかしな方向に行っちゃってるんですかね。
どうでしょう。発売されたゲームはいいゲームもたくさんあるし、どれがベストかは人によって違うのでわからないですが、僕はそうですね、その人の時でちゃんと楽しんでますゲームを。
I'm not sure how to answer that. There are so many really, really good games, but when you ask which one is best, that's different. There's a different answer for everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm still having a lot of fun with the games that are coming out.
Okay. Do you think 3D gaming is another gimmick, or do you think it will be around for the test of time? Do you think it'll be with us for a long time?
3D のゲーミングっていうのは 3D ゲームっていうのは今出てますね。でそれはギミックとして終わった感じですかね。どう思いますか？
2つ答えがあって、クリエイターとしてはそこにチャレンジしたい気持ちはあります、でも個人的には、3D のゲームを遊ぶ場合だったら実際に体験しに旅行へ行ったり、してしまうので、あまり今のタイミングはどう生かしていいかは実は思いついてないです。
There's two parts of me that have different answers for that. As a creator, I'd really love to make a 3D game. It'd be a challenge. It's something I'd like to take on. But as a person, right now, when you say 3D games, I prefer to rather just go like on a trip or go see something, go somewhere and actually experience it myself rather than buy a 3D game. Perhaps that'll change in the future. That part of me will change in the future. But right now, I'm going to split.
I think a lot of us are really split on that. A part of me wants to see 3D gaming, but at the same time, it doesn't stick to me yet.
そうですね。私も同じように意見が自分の中で分かれています。そういう 3D ゲームを見たいっていうのは見たいけれども、心に刺さるほどかというとそこまでではないっていう感じですね。
あそこまでそれなきゃならない環境は大変すぎるんですよ。
Yeah, there's so many things. For example, if you were to try to play it on a big screen, then there's so much hardware you'd have to get in order to play a 3D game.
Why doesn't York seem to be phased by being attacked by evil spirits entering the red world?
ヨークが、その怨霊と戦うっていうのは、あまりビビらないじゃないですか、本人は。そのビビらない理由っていうのは何でなんでしょうか？
ヨークのキャラクターだと思うんですけども、何事にも理由があるってちゃんと分かってて、今そこで戦うことも襲われることもちゃんと結末につながってるっていう確信を持って生きてるから、そこに迷いがないんです。
That can be answered with York's character. York's character, in his mind, believes that there's a reason for everything. He's confident that whatever crazy thing happens to him, it's going to happen to him for a purpose, and it's going to lead him down the path of what's expected from him and what he's expected to do. And that gives him the confidence, and that's why he's not fazed by anything, or even the evil spirits.
Has he played Heavy Rain?
Heavy Rain とか遊んでますか？
ですね。本当こと。
はい。
買ったけど。
My honest answer?
Yes, please. That's what we want to hear. Heavy Rain answers. We talk about it all the time.
発売日に買いました。けど忙しくて開けないです。
I bought it the day it came out, but I've been too busy to play it.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. That happens a lot. And everybody thinks that we play all the games too, and we get so busy that we hear that quite often.
よくあることです。買って我々もゲームをいただいてから遊べない時もあります。
Who's your favorite character in the game and why?
一番大好きなキャラクターは誰ですか？ゲームの中で。そしてなぜそのキャラクターが好きですか？
一番好きなのはもちろんヨークです。ヨークのキャラクターを最初に作り上げたことで、ストーリーから周りの人間関係が何か何までが勝手に動き出したっていうか、ヨークを中心にして世界が広がっているイメージがあるので、彼を外しては考えられないです。
That's easy to answer. That would be York. When I made his main character York, when I made the main character, the story evolved by itself, the relationships evolved by themselves. Everything, the whole storyline kind of stemmed from that character.
ヨーク以外な
はい。Aside from York, would you like to hear? Sure. はい。
僕以外ならシガニかな。
Sigourney.
面白い。
Yeah, she's a fun character.
What is his opinion on popular Western games such as Gears of War, Mass Effect, Halo, Call of Duty?
アメリカで流行っているゲームについてはどう思いますか？ギアーズ・オブ・ウォーとか、そういうコール・オブ・デューティーとか。
プレイしてますし、すごい楽しんでます。だけど、マルチプレイ入ったらすぐに殺されちゃうので、主にキャンペーンで遊んでますね。
I play those games a lot when I can. The thing is, when I go online, for example, I get killed immediately, so I usually stick to the campaign modes.
Yeah, I think everybody gets pretty owned really fast.
オンラインは上手な人がいっぱいいるのですぐにやられるというのはよくあることです。
Is he the one that came up with the mental map on the official Deadly Premonition site? This one?
このマップは末広さんが作られたんですか？オフィシャルサイトにあります。Yes.
Yes. Okay.
もっと最初はノートに汚い 書き方だったんですけど、綺麗に直しました。
When I originally created it, it was much more of a messier thing in my notes, but for the site, I cleaned it up a bit.
Yeah.
Why did you change York's appearance?
ヨークの見た目を変えたのが気になります。なぜ変えたのでしょうか。
プロジェクトを新たに立ち上げ直すということで、それのシンボルとしてのキャラクターは絶対変えるべきだっていう信念があった。
That occurred when we wanted to kind of reboot the project, and as a symbol of the reboot of the project, we wanted to make sure that he looked different.
And this goes back to cultural question. Somebody wants to know why don't you want to make a game based on Japanese culture? They're saying that samurais, ninjas, cool stuff like that.
先ほどの文化的な話でアメリカンカルチャーの方を作りたいなっていう話出てました。なぜ日本の方は作りたくないですか？侍とか忍者とかありますよね。
Even beyond that culture as well, I mean, maybe traditional today Japanese style as well.
それでそういった歴史のキャラだけでなくても日本の現代の日本についてとかは興味ないですか？疑問にするには。
そうですね。日本はすごい独特の現代の日本もそうですけど、侍時代から独特の文化、特殊な文化でしてる国じゃないですか。なのでワールドワイドに情報を発信するために、ふさわしくないイメージがあります。
Japan culturally is very distinct. It's very probably looks strange to a lot of people's minds, and that kind of makes it difficult for making a game that would appeal to a wide worldwide audience. In my mind, and so I'd like to stay away from going that direction.
Okay. Did you ever play Shenmue?
シェンムは遊んだことありますか？
シェンムは最初の30分だけ。
The first 30 minutes of it, yes.
Awesome. Oh, you had one? Let's see. Because so many questions that just keep on coming. But we've answered a lot of questions that are coming up. Yes, he's here for GDC. You're going to be doing a speaking engagement. Yes. What is the session about primarily?
セッション GDC ですよね、今週。どのようなセッションをされるんですか？
用意してきたのは、あなたのゲームシナリオが死んでるかもしれない7つのポイントを話しながら、ちょっと楽しくゲームデザインの話ができたらいいなと思います。
Well, let's see. What I've prepared is a short talk in regard to the 7 points to check in order to make sure that your storyline isn't already dead. And it'll be more of a casual talk. It won't be like a teaching event or anything like that.
When do you know your story is dead? What happens? Like, is there a process? Because everybody wants to make video games, everybody wants to write stories, so many people want to do it. But there has to come a point when you're writing it that it doesn't work anymore. What are some of the signs for that?
それはすごい面白そうですね。ストーリーラインが死んでいるっていうのは何かもう一気に一目で分かることってあるんですか？ライターとしていろんな人がストーリーラインゲームのために書きたいと思ってると思います。これじゃもうダメだって思う瞬間っていうのは何が起きるとそれは思いますか？
本当は2個とか3個とかポイントはあるんですけども、中でも特に気にしなきゃならない7つのポイントについて今回は話したいと思ってます。時間が1時間しかないので。
今一つ言えそうですって言わない方がいいのかな。何かもうこれだと確実に死んでるっていうのがなんか別にあれば。
一番ですね。ゲームを遊んでいない時に思い出せないゲームは死んでる。
Well, yeah, there's probably about 20 or 30 things in my mind that come up to what the things to check to see if your story is already dead. And I'll be talking about the 7 that I think are probably really important at GDC. But the first point is probably the easiest to answer. If your users, if your gamers are not going to be thinking about your storyline or your game while they're not playing the game, then your storyline is dead.
Right, yes.
The game has very good voice acting, like the English is very good. Games like Heavy Rain had English voice acting, but you could tell that they were French, so it didn't sound right. They want to know, was it difficult finding good voice acting, and where did you get them?
ボイスアクティング、ボイスの、質に関する話です。ヘビーレインとかは、フランスで収録されているのが微妙になんとなく分かってしまうような収録でした。デッドリーの場合はいい声優を見せるというのは難しかったのでしょうか。
そこはどうでしょう。サンプルボイスもらった時点でいい人ばっかりだったので、それはもう幸運だったということだと思います。
もうこっちで収録したという話に申してもいいですよね。Yeah, the voiceovers were recorded for Deadly Premonition. The voiceovers were recorded in San Jose actually, and we were blessed basically when we first received the sample voices from the actors. We had really good actors.
How much research did you have to do for the conversations? Example, Thomas, squirrel's fact. Was that stuff already known?
どのぐらいそのセリフを書くためにリサーチとかが必要でした。トマスはすごくリズの話に詳しかったりするんだけども、そういうのも調べたりしたんですか？
そうですね。でもどうでしょう、シナリオ自体を多分8ヶ月間ぐらい書き続けていたので、リサーチをしながら書くっていうプロセスだったので、大変に思ったことはないです。
Well, yeah, there was a lot of research that was done, but also we had a lot of time to create the storyline. Over a period of about 8 months, I was writing and researching at the same time. So it was never a burden at all. It was actually kind of fun.
Oh, awesome. That goes back to the detail. There's just so much detail in your game.
だからディテールが細かいんですね、ゲームの中で。それは素晴らしいです。
Let's see. Were you more inspired by film or video games?
ゲームの方がインスパイア、末広さんをインスパイアしてますか？それとも映画の方が影響強い感じですか？
どうでしょうね。一番影響を受けているのは実際の人間関係だと思います。
That's kind of hard to say. What has inspired me most is probably the people that I've interacted with in real life.
In real life. Okay.
What are the places in America that you scouted for the game?
ゲームを作る前にリサーチとしてどういう場所にいましたか？
これのために、ワシントン州とオレゴン州、それからカリフォルニア州の3つの州でトータルで2週間か3週間ぐらいいろんな街を見ておりました。
Yes, we went to Washington State, Oregon State, and also California. We spent probably about 2 weeks in each. 2週間、各場所に2週間。
全部で2週間から3週間ぐらいですね。
Apologies, maybe 2 or 3 weeks in all three of those areas, all combined.
Okay. But I know that you guys have to be going, right?
Yes.
And last question, anybody have any? You guys covered so much. Is there anything you could tell us for future? What could we be looking out for?
前について何か聞き出してもいいこととかお話とかありますか？もうそろそろ行かないといけないですよね。
未来っていうのは
今後の杉浦さん。
創作活動に関して、もちろんアメリカで発売されるゲームもあれば発売されないゲームも含めてずっと制作活動は続けてます。だけど僕としてはワールドワイドで世界の人に遊んでもらいたいゲームを常に作りたいと思っていますし、今もそれのための企画書を書いたりプレゼンテーション行ったり活動を続けていますので、必ずデッドリーよりもいいもの皆さんに提供できると思いますので楽しみに待っててください。
Yes, I'm going to be continuing to making games, especially for the worldwide audience. I'm currently making game design right now. I'm also doing presentations, to get the funding for those games. And I want to make something even better than Deadly Premonition in the future. So please keep an eye out for that.
Okay, all right.
They'll say they love you.
They love you.
そう、みんな愛しますって言ってます。
Yeah, I love you all.
They're saying thank you so much for your work. Thank you so much. We're so happy that you were here.
本当にしてくださいましてありがとうございます。
Somebody said thank you so much for making the best game they've ever played.
人生の中で一番面白かったゲーム作ってくれてありがとうって言ってます。
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wow, they're saying they love you. Wow, it's amazing.
Awesome.
I guess you could say last thing. Did you expect this much love from the American
このよう
audience?
に愛のある反響は期待されてましたか？最後にです。
もちろん夢見てましたけど本当になってすごく嬉しいです。
I was dreaming that the U.S. audience would love the game as much, but I was surprised that it actually happened. And
It happened. Look at that. They're saying thank you.
Yeah.
All of it is just all love, love, love.
完全に現実
Alright.
ヨーロッパもそうですね。Also for Europe too. Yeah. Alright, gotta get going.